PowerBoat Television is brought to you by Yamaha. Conquer water with Yamaha. Ford F-Series. Smart, tough, capable. And BoatBuys.com. Over 60,000 new and used boats for sale.
A brand synonymous with hardcore fishing, Mako has been building fiberglass fishing boats out of Florida for over 50 years. When invited to Islamorada in the Keys to check out a Mako Funament, we couldn't resist. After all, this would be a perfect opportunity to test a couple of Makos in their natural habitat.
Spanish for island home, Islamorada is located about halfway between Miami and Key West. It is arguably the best destination for sport fishing in the Keys. So if you're venturing down to Key West, you really should make a stop.
The drive from Miami by itself is quite a treat. And upon entering the village of islands, the first resident we ran into was also the largest. Lobster, that is. Meet Betsy, proud guardian of the Rain Barrel Artist Village in Islamorada. Base camp for the Funament was located at the Worldwide Sportsman Bayside Marina. And what a place for a fishing tournament. I'm always forgetting something when I travel, so having such a well-stocked Bass Pro on site is a huge bonus. We often find a boat or two inside a Bass Pro, but never one like this. Right in the middle of the Worldwide Sportsman is Ernest Hemingway's Pilar. This wonderful piece of marine history is notable for its influence on the author while writing several works, including The Old Man and the Sea. Not only can you touch and feel Pilar, but you can climb aboard this 85-year-old piece of history, take a peek inside, and even go below deck. With a few provisions in hand, it was time to get down to business and take our first Mako for a spin.
Everybody knows an offshore boat is designed for open water, and a skiff is designed for the flats. But what if you have to cross a little open water to get to the flats? Should you buy a new kidney belt, or could there be another option? This is the Mako 18 LTS, and there's a reason it's become so popular. What's unique about this 18 LTS is the RPS hull, which stands for Rapid Planing System. And what it does is it puts this boat somewhere between a technical skiff and a bay boat. And what I mean by that is you can run fairly shallow, 10 or 11 inches. But when the water picks up where you've got to cross a bay or a larger body, you've got a lot more ride comfort than you would in a flat-bottomed skiff. And that really lends itself to extraordinary versatility. Because let's face it, the flats aren't always right in your backyard.
So what is the secret to achieve such versatility? Turns out it's all in the hull design. First of all, the RPS hull has a tunnel at the transom with a cover to provide lift while aerating at the same time. Then, there is a U-shaped step integrated into the hull that helps shorten the running surface while reducing surface tension. On top of that, the lifting strakes have been eliminated all around the perimeter, reducing drag even further.
And that RPS hull is very light and gets on plane almost immediately. It's also very maneuverable. There are limits, of course. It will slide a little if you really crank the wheel. So you gotta be prepared. But the ride comfort in the chop, impressive for a little 18-foot boat. It only draws 11 inches of water. Another impressive element of this RPS hull is the stability. So unlike a flat-bottom boat, you aren't stuck only fishing in the flats. In fact, we're finding it quite comfortable out here right now in 7-8 inches of chop. Now, that's not a lot of chop, but for an 18-foot boat, the stability is quite impressive.
And it's not just stable. This hull feels rock solid, in part because the hull deck, and even console are chemically bonded and mechanically fastened together. Through hulls, bow and stern eyes, fuel fill, and cleats are all stainless for corrosion resistance. There's ample storage fore and aft with closed mold laminate hatch covers that are fully finished underside. And check out the compartments, all finished in smooth gel coat. Fishing features are legit, with raised fore and aft casting platforms covered in aggressive non-skid. There are 6 vertical flush-mounted rod holders plus under-gunnel rod tubes. There's an 18-gallon bait well in the console hidden under the forward cushion. The helm is Spartan but efficient, with lots of space for additional electronics. A cushioned cooler doubles as a helm seat and has a pivoting backrest for even more flexibility.
I also really like the non-skid everywhere, including on the gunnels. And as you can see, the bow casting platform is actually curved on the sides, so you have a little bit of extra room, like an extra wide gunnel, as you're transitioning from bow to stern. And standard equipment on the LTS is a Minn Kota trolling motor. So is the boat perfect? Well, no boat's perfect. Can you solve most of the little issues with accessories? Probably. My first issue really is there's nowhere to put small items like a cell phone and a wallet, so you're stuck leaving them in your pocket. Is the 115 Pro XS enough power? Absolutely. Would I go any less? No way. I would definitely opt for the 115. You'll notice our 115 has a jacking plate on it, and I think with this boat, due to that hybrid hull, you really do want that jacking plate to take advantage of the shallow water operation.
So if you're looking for a versatile fishing boat, one that you can pull into shallow water with, but still has enough comfort and capability for bay running, you might want to check out an LTS from Mako. Its unique RPS hull punches well above its waistline.
The 46 Cantius is a welcome addition to an already successful line, and one that lives up to its name. Just because it's the dead of winter up here doesn't mean you stop thinking about boating. In fact, sorry. Hello.
Hey, Steve. It's Matt from Cruisers Yachts.
Oh, hey, Matt.
We just launched the new 46. You want to come check it out?
You got a toothbrush? We're going to Florida. You hear that, Matt? We're coming to Florida.
Welcome to Fort Lauderdale, where the local time is 5:39 p.m.
Oh, I like that. The newest addition to the popular Cantius line is set to take over for the 45, though there will be a bit of an overlap for a couple years. It has the trademark Cantius lines and style, and has twin Volvo Penta IPS 600s. Back at the dock, you can see there's a lot of substance behind the style and performance. You're gonna be doing a lot of entertaining if you've got a boat, and if you got one that's beautiful, you're gonna have lots of friends coming over, which means outside will be prime real estate. And the aft cockpit, you have the L-shaped settee here around the nice solid wood table. You also have a small fridge out here and an ice maker. But if it's a little too much to be in direct sun, don't worry. This right here, with the push of a button, retracts all the way out quickly. None of that hold the button down and have it chug out or a hand crank. The main salon is bright and airy thanks to large windows all around, and features a large bench settee that has a large fold-out wood table for meals indoors. And to starboard, a small bench with, you guessed it, more storage built in. Like a lot of express yachts, you have the option of converting one of your benches to a bed. But unlike a lot of express yachts, this doesn't involve lowering a table, which can be wobbly. Never really works quite as well as you'd hope. Look at that. You have a fully solid, fully flat, fully functional third berth here. The helm features twin 12-inch Garmin multifunction displays built into the low profile and modern dash. The starboard side has all your switches, and just behind, the joystick, thanks to the Volvo Penta pod drives. And on the port side, you'll see a small, round, coaster-looking thing just behind the cup holder. This is actually a wireless charging station for cell phones that are Qi-enabled. For quick checks and easy access, the electrical panel is conveniently located beside the helm. And the captains will also love the one-piece windshield for great sightlines. If you want to let the outside in, you can pop open the sunroof and slide open the windows on both port and starboard sides. And you can slide the back door and windows all the way over to open things right up. And with the galley aft design, you're all set for hosting inside or out. The master stateroom on this 46 Cantius midship takes full advantage of the 14-foot 6-inch beam. You can see you got nice big windows letting natural light in here. Also, you have wonderful design for the nighttime, including the accent lighting around the island berth right on the center line. Now, on either side, I got lots of headroom, and in the middle, yeah, it's a little bit lower, but they've cut out the floor here, so that's not bad at all. And something that I really love and I've always appreciated about Cruisers Yachts is the amount of storage, because sadly, not every Express has places to put all of your stuff, which I don't get. But luckily, Cruisers does. We've got drawers all over the master stateroom. This particular boat has the optional washer-dryer unit built in. If you don't opt for that, that's more storage, and even more right here. The VIP guest stateroom right at the bow has another island berth on the center line, large windows on either side, the skylight above, so you get lots of natural light in here. And underneath the bed itself, really large drawers on nice smooth casters. So the other factor of having people on a boat, other than storing your stuff, is storing yourself and privacy for yourself and your guests. You got lots of room and lots of light and comfort for your guests up in the VIP guest room. And the dayhead, actually at night, thanks to this cheater door, doubles as an ensuite. And in here, like the rest of the boat, there's a ton of storage. Anywhere they can fit it, they've put it in. Also nice that there's a full separate shower in here. When everyone's in bed, the solid wood doors give the privacy you want. And in the little hallway here, you've got access to the holding tank. The swim platform is large, and you've got 2 access points to the storage back here, as well as a nice grill built right in. Not to be overlooked, the bow lounge will also be popular and features a nice hideaway wooden table. Last but not least is the absolutely cavernous engine room. Here you'll find the twin Volvos with plenty of space around to do any work required. You'll also see the 13.5 kilowatt Cummins generator and the Reverso oil change system. Clearly, this has been designed by boaters for boaters. As far as livable amenities on a 46-foot cruiser go, you'll be hard-pressed to top this. The 46 Cantius is a welcome addition to an already successful line, and one that lives up to its name.
This week, we're at Mercury Marine Canada headquarters with Jerry Sims.
He's going to help us with winterizing a sterndrive engine.
This week, we're at Mercury Marine Canada headquarters in Milton, Ontario with Jerry Sims.
He's the training service manager for Mercury Marine Canada. Today, he's going to help us with a few tips on winterizing a sterndrive engine.
In this service manual here, this engine is a 4.3 turnkey start engine, so it's a carbureted engine.
If you don't have one, they can be ordered from an authorized Mercury dealer. And to make sure you get the correct one, be sure to give them your engine serial number. Under Jerry's direction, we start by warming up the engine. Warming the engine up to operating temperature first thins out the oil for easy removal. It also helps dissolve the moisture and contaminants sitting inside, ensuring you get as much of the dirty stuff out as possible.
But I'm going to start by taking the flame arrestor off, and this is similar to the air breather in your car. This needs to be cleaned annually.
Next up, remove the filter with a wrench and be sure to check the sealing gasket stayed with the filter.
Now that that's off, I'm going to actually pull the rest of the oil out of the engine.
The fastest way to drain the engine oil is to suck it out the dipstick. You can fit a vacuum tank rubber hose right over the tube, or you can use the threaded fitting to attach a standard hose. Either method will effectively drain the oil. Changing engine oil at the end of the season in the fall ensures you are not leaving contaminants and residual acids from the combustion process inside the engine all winter.
So once that's done, we're going to pre-fill the oil filter, put oil on the sealing ring, 1/2 to 3/4 of a turn after contact with the gasket. That's it, by hand, no wrench. Look in your manual to find out what the total capacity of the oil of the engine is. And let's just say it's 4 liters, for instance. And I've already pre-filled the filter. So what I'm going to put in is about 3 liters, all right? And then I'm going to start the engine up, make sure we don't have any leaks, and then I'm going to recheck the oil. So the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to change what's called the water separating fuel filter. And what that does is if there's any water in your system, the water is heavier than the fuel and it'll drop to the bottom of this cup.
It's important to change your filter every year, if not twice a year, as condensation can gather in your tanks over the summer. At some point, that water will phase separate and this will trap it all. There is no need to fill the new fuel filter before installing it, but you should lubricate the gasket with a little fresh oil first. This not only helps it go on smoothly, but it will make it much easier to remove next time. Half turn to 3/4?
You got it.
Start the engine to check for any fuel or oil leaks. We also check the oil pressure gauge to ensure we're getting sufficient pressure. Next up, we drain all of the water from the engine, and here you'll want to reference the service manual for those drain plug locations. Not all engines have the same plugs, and you must remove them all to get all the water out. Once you pull the plugs, it is very important to poke around the holes with a small screwdriver or a punch. If debris from inside the engine blocks the water flow, you might not get it all out.
If you miss one, it could be a $1,500 mistake. Just one.
Any water left inside poses a freezing risk, which can crack a manifold or even a block. Once the engine is drained, you can put the plugs back in. Now, the final 2 steps to winterization, getting the antifreeze in and fogging the engine, can be a bit tricky because you have to do them consecutively while the engine is running. To start, you'll need a set of drive muffs. These are the mechanical clamping kind and provide by far the best seal. You will also need 12 to 15 liters of antifreeze per engine. Simply connect the muffs to the intake on the drive, attach a hose to the antifreeze source, and then run the engine while making sure the antifreeze is being consumed.
When antifreeze goes through the engine, it actually comes out the exhaust. And when you start seeing antifreeze being exhibited out the exhaust, you know that the engine and the manifolds are full at that time.
Fogging the engine helps protect the internal combustion parts by coating them in oil. You just pull the flame arrestor while the engine is running and spray directly down the carburetor until you see smoke coming out the exhaust. As soon as you see the blue smoke, you can turn the key off and you are done. We should note, this fogging process is for carbureted engines only. EFI engines have their own fogging process, which can be found in the service manual.
Definitely, the water is the most important. We've got to get the water out or it'll freeze and split. That's the most expensive part. So if we get that done, the rest is like icing on the cake.
We're going to take a Mako 204cc for a spin, a very capable 20-foot center console offshore fishing boat.
Returning from lunch, we find a bustling marina where registration for the Funament is in full swing. This was our first Mako owner's Funament, and we asked event host and angling authority George Poveromo to provide some insight into the event and its origins.
The original Mako Funament started way back in the late 1970s, and this was a great marketing deal that Mako Marine would put on for its owners to give them an opportunity to come to different areas, fish with fellow Mako owners, looking at their boats, talking to them, meeting people who share the same interests as you do with the same boats. And the fishing, even though we have awards, it's pretty much wide open.
With prime locations and Bass Pro support, these events seem to be drawing folks in from many miles away.
One person had trailered his Mako 234 all the way here from Texas, and they're pretty much scattered all over.
If people are willing to drive that far, you know the fishing has to be great.
Islamorada and the Florida Keys, it's really a varied place in that you have inshore fishing opportunities and backcountry for game fish like snook, tarpon, sea trout. Then you have nearshore and reef fishing for your groupers and your snappers, or they could go 20, 25, 30 miles offshore and go for the big game fish. The Funaments, there's nothing like them. It's just all around fun.
And that fun starts early. We found most participants on the dock by 6 a.m., grabbing bait and loading up with ice for the day. Good thing the bait shop opens early. As George mentioned, the fishing here is quite varied, and we find Makos of all sizes being prepared for offshore and backcountry fishing. As soon as the bait wells and ice lockers are full, we watch them head out as the Funament begins. It would be great to go fishing for the day, but as the sun begins to poke above the horizon, we finally have enough light to test out another Mako.
We're going to take a Mako 204cc for a spin, a very capable 20-foot center console offshore fishing boat. And we're lucky because it's equipped with the brand new 225 horsepower Mercury V6.
The 204cc might be the second smallest offshore boat in Mako's lineup, but is well equipped for multi-species fishing with multiple gunnel rod holders and under gunnel rod racks.
Now here's something Mako just gets. These boats are used for multiple purposes. So you've got 2 large bow seats for some ride comfort when underway, but also they're completely covered in non-skid, so they act as an excellent casting platform.
There is a dedicated anchor locker forward, and under each bow seat is a 75-liter insulated storage box for packing ice. The deck hatch lifts on a stainless steel strut to reveal a huge 117-liter storage compartment. Not only are all compartments finished, but they each have water-resistant gaskets to help keep seawater out. And notice the hardware? All stainless. Under the console seat, we find the bait well, which is just under 80 liters. The helm is well equipped with analog gauges, binnacle-mounted controls, and easy access for future upgrades. The new leaning post features a pivoting backrest and secures a 68-liter cooler below, which we made regular use of. As we headed out, I'm reminded of how special the Florida Keys are. The scenery is colorful and the destinations are limitless. Not to mention the weather.
At its heart, this is an offshore fishing boat. But as you can see by the layout, it can easily be used as a day boat and a family runabout. My first impression right away is just how solid feeling these Makos are. The entire hull and deck is chemically bonded, but then they also use stainless fasteners and screws